Everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Budgeting Nari, and today I thought I'll just sit down and show you how I plan out my budget every month. This is something I typically do on my payday or just one day before my payday because I have a fair understanding of how much I'm going to be bringing in this month. So all I do is sit down, look at what I'm going to be bringing in, what are my categories, how I'm going to allocate the money to each of it. And because I've been doing this process of budgeting for a couple of months now, I have a fair idea of what we tend to spend in each category. I tracked my spending for about 2 months before I made this budget, so roughly it works. But of course, there are surprises, and like the month of April was a very heavy medical month for me, and we did end up spending a lot more in that category than we had budgeted for. And I'm anticipating somewhat similar things in May as well. So that's why I need to redo my budget, and I thought I'd just sit down and do it with whoever's watching right now. So this is for the month of May in 2023. I'm not going to putting in dates because I get paid only once a month. So the date for all of this is the 1st of May. I have my regular work income, and then I have my rollover. I also have my extra income. So, extra income here means something like my bonus from work or any cash gifts that I get or any hustle money that I get, etc. Right? So, my work money is pretty constant. I make about 95,000 uh, in a month. This and my rollover from last month was 22246, and my extra income this month was somewhere around 42,000. I'll get the exact figures in a little bit, but roughly. And if you haven't seen, I did break this down, and I did an overall budget video yesterday. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it for you right here. But so that has my larger budget. So I don't need to be quite accurate with my source of income because I've already done that yesterday and I've already planned out my investment. What this video is mostly putting in the exact figures against my bills and variable expenses, right? I'm just going to go ahead and quickly note down all of my categories, and I'll be right back. So I'm just putting in my total amounts. It's 22324. That's my rollover, that's my regular income, and then my, so this is the amount that I have to budget with me today. Okay, all right. So for the budgeted amounts for groceries, I'm gonna do 6,500. We are a family of two, but we live in a very high cost area. That's why our grocery budgets are really high. We also work really long hours, so we tend to Instamart groceries, and that's why they also tend to be a little bit expensive. We also eat pretty healthy, so we order in a lot of fruits and veggies, which unfortunately with the inflation have gone up tremendously. So we do budget in around 6,500 for groceries for the both of us. My transport is going to be getting in 5,000. This is my regular budgeted amount. My medical and household are both getting 10,000 and 10,000. Household includes anything that we want to do when it comes to our house. So something like your renovation projects that we need to do, if we need to buy something that's for the house or something that both of us would share for the house, right? So that's what household includes, and medical is pretty straightforward. My spending is gonna get the budgeted 7,500. The takeout's gonna get the budgeted 4,000. What this means is that this is the amount I set aside for my survival expenses, right? So these are all of my fixed and variable expenses. So if, and my business 1 category and business 2 category, because they're fairly new, I'm not putting in any sort of too much money into it, but I will budget around 500 rupees each for both. Right, so let's just go ahead and total that up. So that's 6,500 plus 20,000 plus 5,000 plus 4,000 plus 7,500 plus 500 and another 500. So that gives me a total of 44,000 in terms of expenses for this month. However, this is just the budgeted amount. I do have a rollover in some categories from last month, and I track my expenses daily in something called the good budget. So as in when I make a purchase in any of these categories, I go ahead and deduct it from that envelope, so to say, from good budget, right? So I do have certain categories I roll over. So for groceries, I have a roller of 160 rupees. For transport, I think I have a rollover of around 2,336. For my household, I have a rollover of 595.36. For medical, I don't have a rollover in this category. I spent about 20,000. So my rollover here is negative 16151. Spending again has a negative balance. I spent quite a lot actually. Last month we went on 2 trips. One was for like a religious thing and the other was visiting extended relatives. So unfortunately that meant buying lots of gifts and travel expenses and things like that. So spending, unfortunately, we exceeded on this. Okay, takeout has 586 and business one has a rollover of 197. Business 2 has nothing. Unfortunately, this is in the negatives, so it has negative 251 because I bought something for it, so and it was like a need for the business. So if I calculate my rollovers, I have 60 plus 2336. I did really well in this category for transport because I took a lot more metros than taking like an Uber or an Ola. 595.36 minus 6151 minus 586. No, that would be plus 586 minus 1985 plus 197 minus 251. So that gives me a negative rollover of minus 4612. What this tells me is that my expenditure this month is going to be high because I have to account for this money that I spent that I didn't technically have budgeted, right? So I know that this month my spending is going to be quite high because I have to account for this missing 4,400 rupees. So just to total this up, this would be 6160. Transport is going to get 7336, 10595, 3849. Spending, it's going to be negative 1985. I'm not going to be spending anything here because okay, medical is for medical, while I know I only have this amount, I will go ahead and spend what is needed. So this is a tentative figure for me. Takeout has 4586. Business 1 gets 547 rupees, while business 2 gets 249 rupees. So I'm gonna go ahead and total my expenses for this month. So that's 6160 plus 7336 plus 10595.36 plus 3849 plus 4586 plus 547 plus 249 minus 1985. So my tentative spending for this month will be 31,337 rupees. So you can see from this figure to this figure, I do budget about 44,000, but I try to keep my expenses lower than that, and I try and roll over as much as possible. But the reason this figure doesn't match this figure is primarily because of the medical, where I've budgeted 10,000 but only spent, given here a figure of 3849, as well as in spending, where I've budgeted 7,500 but I've taken a negative 1985 as my figure. So my target for this month is to not spend anything, and hopefully I can stick to that. And spending is like personal spending, like skincare, makeup, clothing, etc. So my target is to not spend anything, and especially given June is my birthday month, so I do want to save up a little bit more money so I can treat myself for that. And my businesses are fine. Right? So I'm going to put in my amounts again: 160,269. My bills and variable expenses, I am estimating it as 3137, but I'm going to go ahead and take the figure of 44,000 which I have budgeted, right? Which gives me about 160,269 minus 44,000, about 116,269 to budget, right? In this, if you have seen again my video yesterday, I did an investment tracking video as well. In that, I have already budgeted around 1 lakh for P2P, 20,000 for my deposits. This is an RD, and this is the last month I'm paying for this, right? So this gives me 120,000. You will see that my figure here is 116,269, and over here it's 120,000, right? I have a negative buffer of around 4,000. So let's take that figure, 11629. Let's do 120 minus 1. So I have a negative balance of 3731. This negative balance I am not really worried about, because again, I took this figure of 44,000, whereas my actual estimated spending is only going to be around 31,000. So depending on the way you look at it, you can have a negative balance, right? Because if I have already gone ahead and invested these figures, and I'll get more into detail in my video that I did yesterday. So given that I have a negative balance here, I'm very sure that once I close out my budget for me, and I'll do that video with you guys in terms of telling you in terms of how much I budgeted, how much amount I had with me, and what I actually ended up spending. Once I close out my video, you will see that this negative balance would go away. So that is it in terms of my monthly budget. What I also wanted to go ahead and do was set up my sinking fund categories. I've realized that while these categories tend to cover a lot of my month-on-month expenditure, it doesn't account for relatives, family, friends, parents, anniversary gifts, birthday gifts for my husband, or just treating ourselves to like a nice date night, or taking like a short half a day trip somewhere, etc. So that is not accounted. Like, we don't really account for the travels, and we just tend to pay out of our bank account as and when we need to travel, right? And that's not really a good thing, because it tends to throw our budget out of whack. So I do want to go ahead and set up my sinking funds, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye.